Hey, AP Research. Hopefully you're doing well. This is just a video that I want to try. It's going to be a week 5 overview, trying to walk you through all the assignments for the week. So hopefully it'll be a little bit more manageable for you as opposed to maybe getting like 4 different videos from me. So this is just looking at week 5, and many of you guys have already talked with me about your problem statement and the area that you want to study, which is awesome. And I love having those conversations. Keep on reaching out to me if you have any questions. If you haven't talked to me individually, I strongly recommend it. It was an assignment last week, assignment number 17, I believe, to try to reach out and at least share your ideas with me. So please consider that as you kind of go throughout this process, because I can't necessarily give you some help later on, but in the early stages when you're formulating your ideas, I have a lot more flexibility to make sure that you're doing a meaningful and manageable project. So anyway, let's get into it with week 5. Let me give you a quick overview of the assignments for the week. The first assignment you're going to have is assignment number 18, and that's going to be, I want you to read chapter 5 and to Think Like a Freak book. And you are going to basically read about thinking like a child, something that Mr. Matthews is constantly accused of, if you will. But it's a great chapter. Sorry, if I can show that to you. Oh, there you go. Okay, Think Like a Child. It's a great chapter, giving you a chance to understand how in research you can have fun. And I know that's an odd idea, right? How can you have fun doing work? Well, if you do a project that you really enjoy and that you're into, it can absolutely be fun. And if you're having fun, I can promise you a much more enjoyable experience for everyone. So you're going to basically just read that. And instead of answering a bunch of questions, I want you to answer for me these 3 kind of discussion questions. And you put it on a Google Doc and you'll be good to go. So that's assignment number 18. Getting into like assignment 19, I want you to think about what discipline you're going to write in. And this has everything to do with what kind of topic you're picked, right? So you've chosen. So if you're looking at doing anything in the social sciences and the science realm, any kind of like human behavior kind of studies, that is without a doubt going to be APA. And I'd say usually out of my class, probably about 90% of them usually fall under APA, okay? So if you're kind of scratching your head and you're like, I don't know, reach out to me and feel free to let me know like what you're thinking, but I can almost guarantee it'll be APA, okay? If you're doing something in English, that would be MLA, or if you're doing, fine arts and literature, that's MLA, or if you're doing a historical, sometimes even a political science study can be done through Chicago. However, a lot of political science falls under social sciences, which is APA, okay? So most of what you guys are going to be in that format, but let me know. Let me show you a little bit of the difference. So when we look at the MLA, when I ask for a bibliographic entry, and feel free, bibliographical entry, and feel free to use things like Noodle Tools and other kind of citation help there. What you're mainly going to be looking at with the MLA is, you have your author, you have the source, you have the date of published, the page. So when you do your in-text citation, you give the author's name and then the page number. All right. And then this is going to help to try to figure out, like when you do your overall paper, what you're doing. You don't have any necessarily like footnotes or endnotes. You just do in-text citations, okay? APA is a little bit different. You can see what they focus on. They definitely care about the access to the information. So here's your DOI. So making sure that people can find that. And if you take a look at APA, it's very similar to what we're going to see with Chicago. They care about the date, because many times when you're doing a scientific study, it's, well, when was that published? Because there's been research that's come out since then. And so when we look at the difference between like an MLA and APA, it has quite a bit to do with, obviously the formatting is going to be quite different. But then also you look at what's going to be emphasized in the in-text citation, okay? In Chicago style, again, usually this is going to be done in a footnote. But again, you're going to have the author's name, you're going to have the year it was published, if you will, and then the most recent edition was published, and then the page number. And that's going to, again, be very similar to APA. You want to be able to know the date, like when did it happen, because historical trends go in different lines, and knowing something was written in the 1970s is a big difference than something written, in 2000s. So that's always important. And then you can also have in here when it was accessed and just a little bit more on the DOI where you can find it. So just to give you some help there on some of the sources, I don't believe any of you guys are going to do AMA. That's the American Medical kind of association style. If you're doing a medical study, that's something that you might do. But for the most part, I'm going to say a lot of you guys are going to fall under APA. Okay. I'm going to actually give you guys a citation game to play as one of your kind of attendance questions, and we'll see how you can do on it. Okay, so then assignment 19 to 21 is going to be the rest of what we get into. Okay, so 18 is your textbook. 19, what I want you to do is you're going to basically find for me some sources. So all you know for assignment 19 is helping to fill in that gap. And this is really important part of the AP Research Project is you've got to show me what are some major studies, what are some major conversations going on. And usually my students have between 10 to 20 sources in an average AP research paper. So this is just a small sampling of it, but I want you to find for me 3 is what I'm shooting for, not 2, but 3 credible sources on your topic. Now, when I say credible, I'm definitely looking at sources that are relevant to your topic, that are credible. So they can be from an academic source, JSTOR, EBSCOhost, those kind of places. But you're not only limited to those in this class. If you do come across another study outside of a JSTOR, an academic journal, that's okay. We just have to make sure that it was done in a credible way. So you have to kind of look into that a little bit. But you can absolutely use JSTOR and those kind of sources. Those are great. Those are very credible. But if you find like a news story that also talks about your topic, that's acceptable as well. So what I'm going to ask is out of the 3 sources, at least 2 of them be from an academic source like a JSTOR. And then your other one can be from something a little bit different. Could be from maybe a news story or another source that you come across that you think is helpful. Okay. But again, the goal here is to try to find the gap. All right, then you get into assignment 20. In assignment 20, I'm going to give you an assignment that I want you to pay attention to understand how do you complete an annotated bibliography. I'm going to skip this slide for now, but essentially what you do in an annotated bibliography is they're all going to have a citation. And in assignment 20, you're going to color code it for me. So I'm going to give you a list of, I think, 4 annotations, and you color code the different sections. So citation, that's easy. That's always done first. I want a brief summary. Give me an overview. In your annotation, and this is required for this class, I want you to be able to summarize what is the major argument, the major research, the major findings in this study, if you will. Okay? Give me an assessment in the middle. Assessment is usually going to be like the credibility. This was done, through a peer review study. This was done with thousands of patients. It was done through a medical university. It was done by doctors. But make sure you discuss the credibility because that's really important if you want to come back and use that source to refer back to as you write the paper. And then your reflection is how would you use this in your paper? Sometimes they ask you to give a connection, but I just ask you to give me a reflection. Like how does this yes, how does it connect to your paper, but how are you planning on using this source in your paper? Okay. Usually they're between 100 and 150 words long. I'll show you a rubric you can use to kind of keep yourself on pace with what you're looking at. But I think the activity I'm going to give you with assignment 20 is going to be really good. You're going to essentially just read the different citations and then color code. The bibliographic entry will be red. The brief summary will be blue. The assessment's going to be green, and the reflection's going to be orange. I think that's orange. It looks orange to me. So you get to kind of go through and look at each one on those kind of 4 major areas. Okay. So an annotation sample is right here. If we were going to look, obviously we got the overall, the bibliographical entry is right here, right? And what source it is. Yeah, it looks like an APA study based on that. But all right, here we go. It says flirting is an aspect of relational communication that creates ambiguity. This study seeks to identify how flirting may differ in its meaning for dating couples versus married couples. 9 couples were interviewed about their use of flirting when dating and during their marriage. Prior to marriage, flirting was used to reduce uncertainty, i.e., is she interested, or to determine sexual interest. Post-marriage flirting was used to communicate love and attractiveness. So that's basically going to be what you get into. Sorry about the topic. I just found something else kind of interesting. This is going to be something of a brief summary, right? So that first little bit there, I would make that all blue, okay? The author was a doctoral student at the time of the publication. So this is getting to the credibility part, the green part, if you will. The information is current, although additional studies done more recently should also be considered. The article is clearly written, and the author does not identify limitations in her research, such as the use of self-report methods. This research raises questions regarding gender differences and how flirting is used and interpreted, and would be useful for anyone studying relational communication and flirting or relationship maintenance, right? So this last little bit here would be the orange section. Like, how would you use this? How could you apply this? Okay. It's a short overview. I mean, 100 to 150 words is not much when you're writing, but this is where you get to the heart of what the topic is talking about. You give me a summary, you basically tell me the credibility, and you tell me how you're going to use that. Like, what kind of connection does it have to your topic, and what's the reflection? Okay, so that is going to be essentially an overview. For assignment 21, you're going to give me 2 annotations. Now, I'm going to keep asking you to do these throughout these next couple of weeks. So these are skills we're going to keep on learning. And I'm going to do my darndest to try to get better at grading things. So as we communicate and talk, that I can actually communicate about the work that you've currently done, not the work you've done 2 weeks ago. But I'm working on that. So for you all, there's 2 annotations for this week. And then that's it for the work for the week, for week 5. Hopefully you guys are doing okay. And I look forward to seeing you all in a Zoom in the future. Take care, guys.